trying to move a buddleia to a more open, sunny position where it might attract a greater number of insects. Then he had turned over and closed his eyes, falling asleep almost instantly. Jill continued to lie awake, uneasy thoughts swirling around in her head. It wasn't until well into the silent, early hours that she finally fell into a fitful sleep. The next morning, Philip was in the garden with Karen. He had decided to go ahead with his plans to move the aged, gnarled buddleia, despite the light rain that had started falling during the night. The ground was now sticky and wet, and both were dressed in old clothes and boots. "Why is it called a butterfly bush, Dad?" asked Karen. She had finished clearing away some weeds and other debris from the area around the shrub. She stood, leaning on a fork. Her father had begun to dig a trench around the roots, preparing to lever out the plant.
"The flowers must be attractive to them, not just butterflies, lots of other insects too."
"How much longer will it take?" the girl continued. "I thought we'd be finished by now. I'm getting tired."
"Not too much longer. The preparation always takes longer than you expect, and we've done all that now."
He looked up at the grey sky. The drizzle was starting to turn into a definite downpour.
"You started the other side," he added. "Let's try to get it out before we get completely soaked."
He wondered about postponing the final stage of the work, but looked at their mud-caked clothes. It would be easier just to work on, and then clean up with a bath or shower. "There's an old bit of rug or something under this end, Dad," Karen said. "The fork keeps getting stuck in it."
"Take the spade and chop it downwards to clear whatever's there. It should come out then."
Philip kept digging, his damp shirt beginning to stick to his back. He heard his daughter suddenly gasp and looked up. Karen stood with her mouth open, her eyes riveted on the object she held out. Decayed and rotten fabric had partly fallen away from the lump she had freed and picked up. It revealed the bones of a small human hand, severed at the wrist. Philip looked at his daughter in horror. She had turned deathly white. She stood, mouth agape, staring at what she was holding, as if unable to let it go. "Drop it!" he hissed urgently. She looked at him uncomprehendingly, then dropped the hand. She moaned once and began to topple over. He caught her limp body before it fell to the ground, hugging her to him as he carried her back to the house. The streets around Finch Cottage had rarely seen such activity. Within a few minutes of Philip Freeman's emergency phone call, a squad car had arrived, followed shortly after by a doctor called out to treat the shocked young girl. Karen was pale and shivered in uncontrollable spasms, still gasping with occasional sobs. She sat, hunched forward, wrapped in several layers of blankets in the warmest room in the house. White knuckles showed the tightness of her grip on the covers. Her thin white face looked pinched and tearful. The doctor was present for just 5 minutes. He talked to Karen, administered a mild sedative, and suggested a warm bath, followed by a spell in bed. Her father declined a sedative for himself, opting instead for a hot shower and a cup of tea. "She's a lovely girl," said the policewoman as Jill led Karen upstairs to the bedroom. 2 constables had made a quick inspection of the excavation spot before the older one had returned to the house. Her younger colleague remained outside watching the site, sheltering from the pouring rain in the garden shed. She had spoken to her headquarters by radio, and then talked to Karen and the doctor before he left.
"What do you think?"
Philip asked, once his daughter was out of the room. The policewoman shrugged. "Can't say. There's still some old rug and carpet visible, but it's impossible to say how much. We'll just wait until the forensic team and the officer in charge arrives."
"It could be entirely innocent, I suppose. There are meant to be remains from an old battle all around here."
"But they wouldn't have wrapped the body in a carpet, sir," she answered. "It's likely to be quite recent, but as I've said, it's not worth speculating at present." She took a cup of tea out to her colleague. The rain was falling.